Welcome into another edition of the Fantasy Draft Room Recap Series, breaking down tonight's game of the Dallas Cowboys and New York Giants. Monday night game, Dallas Cowboys coming out with the victory in this one, 23-16. Really kind of an ugly game offensively all around, but Cooper Rush comes down, leads a comeback win drive within the last 5 minutes. New York Giants aren't able to come back. Daniel Jones throws a pick. Daniel Jones under pressure a lot this entire game, just getting pressured on it felt like every single drop back he took. Let's get into it for the fantasy implications. Unfortunately for tonight, it does not look like we are going to have our snap shares from PFF at this point, but still wanted to get this out tonight in case anybody's still up tonight wanting to watch it early in the morning, because I wouldn't be able to get to this till tomorrow night. So we are just going to go through it. We don't have the snap shares, but we still have our targets, yards, everything that we get from a traditional box score from ESPN, breaking it all down, trying to dissect it to more of a fantasy aspect where we are box score scouting, but we just took it away from the game. We can apply some things. Let's get into it. Let's start with the losing team first. Daniel Jones, 20 completions on 37 attempts for 196 yards, 1 INT, 0 touchdowns. Like I said in that opener, Daniel Jones under pressure this entire game was running around for his life. I couldn't even count the number of times that he just had to throw the ball away 2-3 times per drive. It was just ugly from this offensive line. Evan Neal was absolutely getting mauled by DeMarcus Lawrence. Micah Parsons just eating on this offensive line and eating Daniel Jones's lunch. This is, he still performed, though. He did have a pretty good rushing line, Daniel Jones did, along with that game. 9 carries, 79 yards. He actually was leading this team in rushing for a good majority of the game, but we'll get into it right from here. Nothing too much to take away from Daniel Jones. An all right game, but nothing you're really hoping for from the fantasy scene. Saquon Barkley, though, did salvage this game with a nice 36-yard run for a touchdown, 14 carries on the game, 81 yards, 5.8 average, and 1 touchdown. Really saving his game there. He had, we have 4 targets, 4 receptions, 45 through the air. So, pretty good overall game from Saquon. Really, I think he did probably save it with that 1 long rushing touchdown. Probably only looking at about, 80 yards or so if he doesn't really score that one. But good to see from Saquon. He's still got a lot of bursts. Looks good. Still looks like he's an RB1 this year. So can't fault anything from Saquon on this game. Would like to see maybe a little bit more than 14 carries, but hey, that's the state of the NFL right now. We can't really ask much more than 18 touches in a game. That's going to be RB1 status from here going forward. Behind him in the rushing game, there's just really nothing else. Richie James got 1 carry for 4 yards. Matt Breida with 1 carry for 3 yards. This is as close as you can get to as a workhorse backfield in the NFL currently. Daniel Jones taking the ball nine times, though. Like I said, just scrambling for his life. I don't think there was too many design runs from him in this game. So Saquon just eating the majority of this work out of the backfield, and he'll continue to be in that RB1 status until something changes here. Let's move really quickly into this receiving room. Sterling Shepard, man, last play, end of game, not even targeted. Looks like he went down, had to get carted off in the last play. The both teams coming around, giving him the, tap on the shoulders, trying to just, a really good guy, but just cannot stay healthy. From our fantasy our fantasy physical therapist, Dr. Jeff Mueller, over on with Destination Devi. Check out his podcast. There is a concern for ACL, he's thinking, but it does look like there could be a patellar tendon issue, a patellar tendon rupture here as well. Either way, if either one of those two are it's probably the end of the season. Hopefully you're just looking at a meniscus or a bone bruise, but man, Sterling Shepard just can never stay healthy. He actually had a really good game tonight too, or at least was targeted a lot in this game. 10 targets, 5 receptions for 49 yards. Obviously not anything that you're really looking for out of a receiver in the fantasy game, but he got the targets, but it doesn't look like he's going to be playing here for the rest of the year. So somebody else in this receiving room has got to step up, and really the only other ones they've got Richie James, David Sills. Feels like they're going to be bringing somebody in because Kenny Golladay can't fucking run on the NFL football field anymore. So something's going to have to change with this receiving core. Otherwise, it's just going to be ugly from here on out. Like I said, 10 targets for Sterling Shepard. Those will have to go somewhere else. In the receiving game, right behind him, out of the wide receivers at least, next up was Richie James, 5 targets, 4 receptions for 36 yards, 0 touchdowns as well. Obviously, Daniel Jones not throwing a touchdown in this game. It's not going to be anything great out of anybody in this receiving core tonight. Behind him, David Sills, 4 targets, 2 receptions for 20 yards. Chris Myrick, 1 reception, 1 target, 5 yards, or 6 yards, excuse me. And then Kenny Golladay, the absolute just put him through the spin cycle. I mean, I think he's been through about 5 washes now at this point. He cut him in everything. I don't even care anymore. If you can get a 4th form anywhere in dynasty leagues, go ahead and do it. Otherwise, just cut this dude. It's sad to watch this man play on the football field. He looks disinterested, or he's just completely washed. I don't know which it is, but it doesn't matter for my fantasy team. He's not going to be on it after this week. 3 targets, 0 catches. Just get him out of here. We did see something good, though, from our tight end room. Daniel Bellinger really taking over from this tight end room. 5 targets, 4 catches for 40 yards. Nothing to write home about, but at the tight end position with as weak as it is, along with the Sterling Shepard injury, Daniel Bellinger might be getting pushed into a role a little bit sooner than we thought. So Daniel Bellinger, somebody to watch out for in your dynasty leagues. Obviously, he probably should be rostered already. Don't think he's really there for redraft yet. Maybe he's a random touchdown guy for a stream, but Daniel Bellinger, he did have a nice game, though. I think that's going to wrap up the New York Giants game. I mean, there's really not much to take away from this game, truthfully. But Cooper Rush, he looked good. I'd be surprised. I'm kind of interested to see if Cooper Rush can maybe, if Dak does come back, if he can maybe pick up a job somewhere else after this season. 3 starts, 3 wins for the guy. He's led 3 fourth-quarter comeback drives. So, I mean, Cooper Rush, dude, he doesn't look bad. 31 attempts, 21 completions, 215 yards, and a touchdown. No interceptions, no sacks, just a clean game from Cooper Rush here. And it's going to translate pretty well for some of his receiving options as well, as we'll see later. So Tony Pollard, though, let's get into our running back room first. Tony Pollard got 13 carries on the night, 105 yards, long of 46, averaging 8.1 on the ground. He just looks extremely explosive, but they're still going to give the rock to their guy, Ezekiel Elliott. 15 carries for 73 yards. Zeke did pick up the touchdown, so you're going to get a better day out of Ezekiel Elliott today. It just seems like it's just going to be a pretty even split between these two. Whichever one falls in the end zone on a week, that's probably the one you wanted to start. And starting both of them as, RB3 flex options, something like that. Probably not going to be disappointed each week, but you're probably not going to be getting anything really great either. The only other rushing we had from this team, Cooper Rush did get 2 carries. Actually, he just took them for -2 yards, so nothing doing there. Like we said, 215 yards in the passing game out of Cooper Rush. It could have been a lot more, man. CeeDee Lamb did lead the team in receiving, but, man, he dropped about a 50-yard bomb that just hit him right in the hands. What are you looking at? People are flipping out on Twitter, sell him, sell him, sell him. We saw one deal go down at halftime, even in our Discord. I mean, man, he could have had a great night, but he still had a great night because he made an absolutely spectacular catch coming back in the second half, corner of the end zone, one-hand ball over the shoulder, finishing off this game with 8 receptions, 87 yards, and a touchdown. Did have 12 targets on that. Should have been even better. Probably 12 targets for 9 receptions, 120 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He would have been up there at the top of the leaderboard of this week if he would have caught that ball. Don't know what he was doing, but good to see the target share from CeeDee Lamb. Just need to catch that. Just be a little bit better with the hands, Lamb. And, man, he should be up there in, top 5 wide receiver range. But it's going to be probably a little bit of week to week, just like we were saying with some of these other guys in this offense. Another guy that we saw coming up, and he's been producing over the first 2 weeks, and he keeps producing this week. 7 targets from Noah Brown, 5 receptions for 54 yards. Nothing great, but, solid production out of a wide receiver, last flex in your team, deep bench stash in case anything would happen to CeeDee Lamb. Noah Brown looks like the locked and loaded number 2 in this offense, at least until Michael Gallup comes back, and he's still dealing with his injury, so it'll probably take a little bit for him to work back into the offense. Other wide receivers in this game, we got Simi Fehoko with 1 target, 1 reception, 12 yards, nothing doing there. Jalen Tolbert did finally start this game. Only saw 2 targets, though, 1 catch for 4 yards. Rough start to the season for Jalen Tolbert, especially when you got an undrafted guy like Noah Brown running in front of you. Would love to see more from Jalen Tolbert, but he might be more of a developmental guy if he ever even really gets there. I mean, Noah Brown looks like he's really secured this role for the Dallas Cowboys. Behind him, you've got Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard out of the backfield, each of them getting one target. Zeke was the only one who caught the target, though, and he only picked up 2 yards. So nothing in the receiving game for these running backs in this game. We did see an interesting split between the tight ends in this game. I know I was starting Jake Ferguson in a league where I lost Dalton Schultz. Jake Ferguson came out, got 3 targets, 2 receptions for 13 yards, but he was really splitting a lot of the time, and I would love to have the snap shares for this one. But Peyton Hendershot was the one who I saw on the field a lot more. He's got the same amount of targets, though, 3 targets, caught all 3 of them for 43 yards, obviously 30 more yards than Jake Ferguson got. So Peyton Hendershot, I mean, if Schultz was to miss a game again, no, he was close to playing this game, so probably not. Probably was seeing him back next week, but maybe Peyton Hendershot's a guy you can pick up on, your deep tight end premium leagues, 2 tight end leagues. So keep that name in mind for future reference. And I think that's all we have from this game. Like I said, it wasn't too great of a game. T's and P's up to Sterling Shepard. Hope that guy's okay, but man, it did not look good. Immediately went down clutching that leg. Dallas Cowboys do come out with this game and a win, 23-16. Only 2 remaining undefeated teams left in the league. New York Giants are no longer a part of that club they did not belong in. So we'll see what we get. We'll be back here on Thursday, hopefully, with another primetime weekday game recap, breaking down the Week 4 kickoff between the Miami Dolphins and the Cincinnati Bengals. Should be a much better game than what we saw tonight. Hopefully a lot more offense. We can break down some things. Until then, I'm Cody Smith. Check me out at Cody Smith TFDR, my co-host at Trophy Chase TFDR, social media joint account at _TFDR, podcast on all of the channels you watch your podcasts on. Start putting out content for y'all, and hopefully y'all like it. Enjoy. Until next time, I'm Cody Smith. Cheers.